Right. Hey, hi Wayne, thanks very much for joining us today. If you could just start by introducing yourself, tell us a bit about your career in sports today and your career in teaching and what you've been up to.
Okay, yeah, my name's Wayne Bishop, work at Special Ed Centre based in Forest School, London. Started about 6 years ago, mainly managed the centre, but also health and safety for the school. In terms of sport-wise, sort of done a lot of running for Ashford and Kent. Main sport being hockey. Played that since the age of 12. Played county, South East hockey, National League hockey, and yeah, coach of 7 sports. So play a bit of squash, a bit of badminton, a bit of basketball. Sort of generally all round in terms of other sports. Hence my passions, why I've got into the industry, and hopefully stay through it.
Right, so generally consider yourself to be an all-round serious sportsman?
Absolutely, I like to push myself to the level, like to try new things. Recently done my first half marathon a few months ago, went well, looking to do more. Into cycling, and again like to push myself to the limits, see what I can see mentally and physically capable of doing. So yeah, absolutely, like to try all sports. As I say, my main passion's always been through hockey, and more recently getting into running.
Oh, fantastic. So you obviously compete in a lot of sport, both socially and professionally. How happy would you say you are with your overall performance? Do you think it's something that you could increase more, or are you happy with where you're at the moment, would you say?
Always looking to increase more, and whatever you can find to give you the edge, to push you push you that bit further, whether in training or whether in the matches or the actual event itself. Big believer in you train how you play, and you play how you train. So training is as important, if not more, than the actual matches. And I've always done more above and beyond in the training, so that the event is hopefully that much easier. So always looking for that bit of extra to push that bit further, whether it's improve the time, make that extra tackle, or get that extra kilometre or that extra mile under your belt, so that next time you've got another target to beat.
Lovely. Okay, thanks for that, Wayne. So I'd now like to focus on when you're in training or when you're in competition in the plethora of sports you take part in. Tell us about a time when you've hit the wall. How does it feel for you? How do you react to it? And what is it in the past that you think has stopped you breaking through that wall, moving on to the next step in terms of your performance?
Yeah, hitting the wall is so different for most, but again, whenever I have hit the wall in training or in a match, it's generally sort of the legs and the head at the same time, both sort of saying you're not going any further. I'm one of those, unfortunately, can be sick, and have often made myself sick. It's a horrible sensation. You've pushed yourself to the limit, so there is a positive to it, that you're always testing yourself. But there's always that air of frustration, especially sort of with fitness testing, or where there was a target that you didn't make it, and then of course you do start looking on the negatives, thinking, well, I didn't quite hit that. Next time I need to make sure I do hit that. So yeah, hitting the wall is a horrible experience. People deal with it in different ways, but it's important to try and keep pushing through it, so that the next time it's become that little bit easier, or you go that little bit further. And again, whatever it is, whether it's equipment or something like booost that gives you that edge to push you that bit further, then when you are hitting the wall again, because obviously you will hit it, you hope for the success at the end of it.
Okay, brilliant. So before we talk a little bit more about your experiences using booost, you've attempted a world record a few months back. Before we get into talking about booost and how you used it during the world record, would you like to tell us a little bit about what that world record was and what you achieved that day?
Yeah, the world record was the furthest distance covered on one treadmill within a 24-hour period, by using a team of 12 athletes, and it had to be a mixed team. This world record. It was the previous world record holders were a team from Germany, set in October 2010, and they covered just over 422 kilometres. So we, as part of our Olympic legacy, we wanted to try and set a real legacy for the school, and breaking a world record, there's no real better legacy than that. So we picked on this challenge from about October last year. We sort of began training for it, and the idea was twofold. One, to raise money for two charities, Essex Disabled Sports Foundation and Forest Sports Scholarship, and of course creating a legacy here for Forest School. The 12 runners we had 2 girls and 10 males, all with mixed sporting backgrounds. Some are marathon runners, some are cyclists, some are football players, some are hockey players, and netball players. So there's real mixed range. So the training was quite intense. It's very different from what anybody's ever done, and the key thing was that recovery period. Doing very short, hard sprints and being prepared to get back on again in another minute or 3 minutes time. Your body had to recover at its quickest rate possible.
Thank you. So on the evening of the world record attempt and through the evening, so the following morning, tell us a little bit about when you used Boost, how you used it, and what describe the effect that Boost had on you when you took it. Was it instant? Was it something that was gradual?
Yeah. Well, during the actual event, within the team of 12, we broke down into fours. So each 4 tackled 1 hour at a time. So within my particular group of 4, we felt that we would do better taking half hour in a pair. What that meant was that we done 1 minute on, 1 minute off for half an hour, but then we got two odd hours rest before we went on to the next set. The other groups tended to do 1 minute on, 3 minutes off within their group of 4 over the hour. So my personal experience is that we chose to do one on, one off, and go for the long rest, but it also meant that half hour was exceptionally, very high intensity, and we had to recover. So from personally, I was pretty much using Boost from the very first set that we were doing it. As the challenge progressed and we had one of our runners become injured, we then needed to become more, separate those minutes and cover more. We then went to doing more 1 minute on, 3 minutes off, because we wouldn't be able to sustain that with just 11. So the Boost in the early stages of the challenge when we first started was more of a refreshment. I found it taking the Boost after my minute I felt much more able. Within 30 seconds I was confident that my next minute I would easily be able to do that. Whereas during our training sessions, in order for us to ascertain whether Boost was working for us or not, we pushed ourselves, and generally 45 seconds I was getting to the point, yes, I'm ready for the next minute. So it was actually helping me recover about 10 to 15 seconds quicker after a real hard minute of sprinting. As the challenge progressed and we obviously got tired and sleep deprivation and also nutrition was becoming an issue, the Boost wasn't just obviously a refreshment, but again it's helping you recover that much quicker, and by being that much more alert, you are in many ways preventing any injuries, because you generally get injured when you're tired. You take that little bit extra risk. You are mentally ready for the next minute that much earlier, and so you feel more confident in yourself, more positive, and the more positive vibes you've got going on, especially with a challenge like this where there are peaks and troughs inevitably with people running for 24 hours, the more positives there are, the more vibe there is that you are going to break this world record, and we had a few people that had never heard of Boost and were unsure of it. By about 12 hours into the challenge, these people were using Boost and singing its praises and saying, yeah, this stuff is working for us. And I think there's a big factor why we didn't just break the world record. We beat it with 50 minutes to spare. We added 15 kilometres onto it, and we've actually made it really hard for anybody to break it after us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic achievement. So it sounds to me like your wall is recovery, and what Boost has allowed you to do is it gives you the confidence and almost the patience to know that you, whilst you're using Boost, you will be able to carry on going, and you can almost relax your mind and your body can just take care of it from there.
Yeah, in many ways, a lot of athletes rely on various different things to get them through. If you're looking at sort of injuries and niggles, people rely on deep heat, people rely on ice packs or heat packs, and I think Boost is going to be up there with that in terms of the recovery and the speed of getting that speed of thought back. Whether you're a football player, hockey player, netball player, getting that speed of thought back is absolutely crucial. You see it all the time in top flight sport. Silly mistakes start coming in because they're tired. People start trying to dribble a bit too long. Running wise, people lose their timing. They lose sight of the end goal. And if Boost can help your mind recover, but also, although you're not consciously aware that it's helping your body, it's of course helping your body as well by getting that oxygen in there. Then I think it's going to be inevitably sport bags, along with the deep heat, the ice pack, the compression bandages, because it is that important to get you through, A, to stop you hitting the wall, B, to get you through the wall, and to get to the goal line.
Brilliant. You mentioned earlier that some of your teammates during the world record attempt were sceptical of Boost as a new sports supplement product. Many people will be, but as you said, they were all reaching for it by the end. Can you tell us a little about when you first heard of the use of canned oxygen sport? What did you thought? Were you a skeptic? Did you see the value in it, or was it a process of using it and beginning to understand the products more?
Yeah, I was. I mean, again, I was when I first heard of it, so I had to look it up myself. So I looked on the website, saw the testimonials, mainly from the States, seeing how well they're using it, and that there is a new product in the UK. So yes, I looked into it. And like anything new, you need to give it a test period, and for me that's why we done real high intensity training. We done training at a faster speed with lesser recovery. I then done exactly the same, but with a can of Boost by my side. And some people may be saying it's purely psychological. All I can say to those people is give that a try. Do your own test. Push yourself to a limit, and push yourself to the limit with Boost, and then decide whether it's psychological. For me personally, it was refreshing the mind, and it was refreshing the legs, and it's recovering me that much quicker, ready to go back on it again.
Yeah, so it's almost, from being serious about sport, that's when you hit your wall, that's when you're training really hard and pushing yourself at a regular basis, and it's almost, to feel the benefit of Boost, you need to be at that point to fully understand how the effect it has.
Yeah, if you're going out for a very slow jog, then to be honest, it's, you won't see the effect as what you are doing a marathon or a sprinting challenge or full out in a team sport. You need to be pushing yourself, and then pushing yourself with Boost, and you'll see the effects.
So I guess now, bear in mind the experience of you and your teammates in the world record attempt, how has the view changed towards canned oxygen, or what do you all think? What is the general consensus now among your team?
Generally, because with our team, it was a one-off challenge. We did find it hard. We haven't started looking at it again. There is talks that we're looking to do a cycling challenge next, sort of a Land's End to John O'Groats, within a real sort of short time frame, which could be looking at people cycling around 200 miles a day. Where a Boost would be sort of important to get us through those challenges, and I think with the people with the team that are doing this challenge, they've already mentioned about talking to the guys at Boost and seeing about sponsorship and support, so that we can utilise the canned oxygen to get us through the next challenge.
Fantastic. Well, I was going to ask you when have you used it since then, but I guess you've already asked that one for me, so thank you for that. Before we finished, we've talked a lot about kind of the physical anguish that is caused when you hit the wall, and how Boost has become essential for you and other people who you've shared Boost with in increasing your performance and make sure you can push on to the next level. Would you mind telling us a little bit about how you see its uses more generally in recovery and training, rather than that extreme moment in competition when you're right at the end? Could you see its uses generally throughout your recovery process and when you're training for an event such as the cycle ride you've got planned for coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Like most athletes, the idea is that you train beyond the actual event. So when we was doing the running, we were going at a faster speed with less recovery. What football players will do, for example, is if they're practicing kicks, they will do it with heavier balls, or they'll simulate longer match times. Same with hockey, they'll flick with heavy hockey balls, so that the training is higher intensity than the actual match. And while using Boost during the high intensity training, you can then push the intensity of that grade further, and it has a direct knock-on effect to how you're going to perform on the match days. If you look at the Olympics, people are training for 4 years for that one event, whether it's a 100 metre sprint, or whether it's the 10,000 or the marathon or the cycling. And if you can add that edge throughout your training, and like Sir Steve Redgrave, I think in his autobiography states how many times he fell off the rower being sick. He was hitting the wall every single time. But perhaps if him or other rowers were using Boost during the training, that wall is that extra few metres done, or the extra time done, which then replicates the extra distance or the pace that they can achieve during the event.
So, well, Wayne, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your help, and good luck, and we look forward to supporting you in your cycle ride in the future.
Excellent.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.